Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to the Nest Podcast, episode 41, the Dirk Nowitzki episode, presented by Sportszilla. I'm your host, Brandon, and with me, as always, is my co host, Zach. Zach, what's up, dude?
What up?
Not much, man. Hey, a funny thing happened to me earlier today. I was walking my dog around the neighborhood, and in all the movies that are like set in the hood, how the drive-by scene is always signified by like the bump of like bass in a rap song and a six foe rolling down the street,
Yeah.
creeping down. Well, so I'm walking my dog, and then from behind me, I hear this bass like start to thump, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, I'm about to get got. Now, mind you, I live in a suburb and I'm walking around the block in Florida, so it's not necessarily the roughest neighborhood, although Jacksonville has a tendency to you know,
Be
murder
sketchy at
people.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Duval.
I know all about cities murdering people.
Yeah. So anyway, here I am walking, I start hearing this thum, 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 and I'm like, "Oh shit, here it comes." And it's two white kids on a bicycle. And one of them has like one of those I guess portable speakers or whatever that's connected to their phones, and they're just bumping this like rap song, and I just looked at him, I was like, dude, if you knew how fucking funny that was in my head right now, because I'm sitting here thinking it's going to be like a car that's just bumping music or whatever, and then here comes like kids on a bike. It's so different from when we were kids.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But anyway, man, that happened to me today. Something else happened in the world of sports, and it's to Tiger Woods, and he did not make the cut, did he?
No, that's crazy.
Uh it sucks because he just won the Masters. Everybody was super high on Tiger, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, was he just a fluke? Kind of like you alluded to last week, how sometimes fluke finishes come out of nowhere and it captivates everyone. Was Tiger a fluke?
It's probably, I mean, this late in his career, with all of his back injuries that he's had to deal with, it was probably just you caught him on a good weekend, you know?
You caught him whenever the Percocet supply was, going. He didn't have any pain in his back. He had some dank ass weed from down the street,
Got him a cortisone shot or something.
or five.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be consistent anymore. It's just not in the cards for him, I think.
I hate that. It's like they say, never meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed. It's kind of sad to see like one of your childhood, icons or heroes as an athlete come back and make this monumental return and then a collapse. I was cheered for the Tiger Woods video game release to come back. Oh man, if I could get my hands on a Tiger 2020, I'd be all about it.
Yep, for sure. It's he's been an icon in not only the golf world but like just all of sports for 20 plus years now. I mean,
Yeah, he really
when he
has.
was real young, like 18 and just slaying it out there. Do you remember when he got that hole in one on that par 3 in Scottsdale, I think? It's the 17th hole on that course,
I think so.
or 18th hole. Might be 7. I think it's 17th.
Was that the one where it hung on the lip and then it fell?
I think so. But that hole is really well known because there's a shit ton of stands there, and you have to cross a water gap, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, a ton of people just bloop their ball into the water, and he just slayed it that day. It's one of his most it's one of the holes that has gained the most notoriety in his career.
Well said.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube for sure. It's crazy. Just like he was amazing at golf, which I guess people probably don't think is a big deal, but go out and try to hit a ball. It is so hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys can just go out and whack a golf ball and send it going somewhere, but they have no clue where it's going to go. It takes skill to be able to, repeat that motion and drop the ball in wherever you want it to go, make it slice and cut and draw all the ways that you want it to go, know how to read a green.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of skill involved. And like you were mentioning some of Tiger's uh, physical issues that he has now with his back injury, and we kind of joked about it with the drug references, but he has legitimate back injuries and things like that, and that does affect your performance. I'm sure he's found ways to tweak his swing to where it doesn't impinge on his back injury, but um, that would affect him. But also mental stress in the mental game is huge,
Mm-hmm.
especially at the professional level in sports. And Tiger's been in the news lately for other things lately. I just said lately twice in the same sentence. Damn, I suck. Tiger's been in the news lately for things other than golf, and it's not good. Um, the story goes like this. Back in December, a guy that worked at Tiger Woods restaurant in Jupiter, Florida, he worked there as a bartender, drank behind the bar while he was working, and then stayed at the restaurant for several hours after his shift, drinking and yucking it up with his buddies. Decided to hop in his 99 Corvette and go home. First off, I don't know this guy. I don't know anything about him. I don't know, but I'm assuming if he drives a 99 Corvette, he's not going 20 miles per hour on the way home. He's probably going a little bit accelerated rates of speed. He's already pretty intoxicated from several hours of drinking, and he crashes his car and unfortunately passes away. So
Was anyone else injured?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I have no clue. I don't think so. I think it was a single car, but don't quote me on it. So now I don't know. Whenever they did the toxology report or whatever, his blood alcohol was 3 times the legal limit. So he was pretty drunk. Now I don't know if this happened before or after the Masters win, but the family of the guy, the parents of the guy that died, are suing Tiger Woods, his girlfriend, who I guess is an owner or some kind of stakeholder in this restaurant, and the general manager, district manager, or whatever of the restaurant as well. Um, I think that's kind of weird. It's at least the timing of it is weird because it's just after like Tiger was back in the spotlight, back making money playing golf, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're going to sue you for a wrongful death of our son because you shouldn't have allowed your staff to continue to enable him. And they're coming out saying that he was an alcoholic and attended AA meetings and things like that. I don't know, man. I smell a rat.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You do too? Okay. I'm
I
glad it's not
think
just me.
I think if this guy had worked at Applebee's, this wouldn't be a story.
Right. Thank you. Applebee's, Chili's, Outback, whatever the case. But because it's Tiger Woods, because he just made a lot of money and was in the public making a lot of money. Everybody knew about fucking Tiger winning the Masters. But I think they're gold diggers and they're like, hey, this is our chance.
Yeah.
But if they could afford to set their son up with a 99 Corvette, they probably weren't the poorest of people anyway. So who knows?
I think a celebrity who has his name plastered on some sort of establishment that serves alcohol can be subject to this kind of thing because people go after celebrities because they know they have plenty of money and they know that this will go viral, which it has. And, this is a cash cow for them, honestly. And whether or not they're trying to get, ramifications for what happened to their kid. Like I said, this would not have happened at your run of the mill place. The only thing I can say that the establishment might have done wrong is serve him if he was drunk. Now, I don't know the laws in Florida or whatever, but I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to serve people that are clearly intoxicated.
Right. I that is clearly the law, but I also understand that these bartenders, he was drinking amongst his coworkers, and that in itself should not have been allowed.
I would agree with that.
That should be against the company policy for you to drink at the bar that you work at. I don't think that's a good look. Um, because things like this happen because it's hard to cut off your friends.
Yep. And
It's
they won't listen to you. Like, I think you had enough, buddy. Oh, shut up, man. Give me another. You
or
know?
they would just get up and hop behind the bar and pour it themselves because they fucking work there. They know where everything is and they feel entitled to it.
Yeah. I think that's
So
a conflict of interest. I
I
would
do
agree.
too. I don't like that. It's a bad look. Um, so if any restaurant listeners out or any restaurant owners out there are listening, keep that in mind, fellas.
And I think you kind of have a specific knowledge about this. You used to be a bartender for a little bit, right?
Yeah, for a short time. And I've worked in restaurants and stuff off and on coming up, like when I was a teenager and then even into my 20s before I joined the Marine Corps. So yeah, I've been in and out of the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
It's a world that everybody that works at the restaurant, that's your friend. Those are your friends during that time of your life because you see them all the time. Most of the time it's, when I worked there, at least it was other people my age, other college kids or whatever that are just working a bullshit job while we're doing other things that is eventually going to make us money. For me at the time, I thought I was going to be a cage fighter. I thought I was going to go fight in the UFC and make millions that way. I thought I was Conor McGregor in training or whatever, but we see how that panned out, right? But yeah, I built my schedule at the restaurants around my jujitsu training and stuff like that. So I was pretty dedicated back then. Um, but
Do you know of any like establishments that have that kind of rule where you're not allowed to be like a patron essentially at the place you work?
um I it sounds like it is familiar and it is a rule at some places that I've heard. I just can't identify it.
Yeah.
None of the places that I worked at had any kind of rules like that.
I would imagine it's pretty far and few between because at the end of the day, I think owners are just worried about making money. And if they can make it off of their employees, then so be it.
Hell, when I was working in the kitchen of one place, I used to go and fill up my styrofoam cup that I would normally keep like sweet tea or whatever in. I I used to go and fill it up with beer. And I would just be sitting there like flipping burgers, drinking beer all day long. I did that a couple days.
Yeah. Yeah. I find myself working in bars in my line of work. And I've seen numerous, bartenders at 10, 11 in the morning drinking like it's cool. But that's the name of the game in that kind of industry though, I guess.
Yep. It is what it is. Anyway, let's get back onto topics that I actually know something about. And I don't know anything about restaurants these days. I bet if anybody's listening is like, dude, we don't do anything like that in restaurants now. It's pretty strict. I'm sure it is. I'm sure someone has stepped in and regulated it.
It probably all depends on where you're at.
I'm sure a lot of bigger chains and stuff now are a
Yeah.
lot more strict.
That's why I kind of said that this kind of thing wouldn't have happened at an Applebee's. I think one, they have very good lawyers, and two, they have a ton of rules in place because they're a huge corporation and they didn't get to that point for nothing.
Sure. Yeah. And that makes sense.
What do you think will come of this for Tiger?
Nothing.
You think they'll just settle and be done with it?
I think, yeah, they'll settle. I think the judges or jury would see it as kind of a money grab if it was filed after the Masters, especially.
Yeah, and I don't think you can hold someone at fault for something like that. Like I said, the only thing I can see is maybe they'll get hit with some kind of you served him after he was drunk or something like that.
Right, and that's why I mentioned that everybody would be friends in that establishment. So really, the people you need to be hitting with this are the ones that were enabling it directly.
Take away some people's liquor licenses.
Yeah, that's how you handle this. You don't come after Tiger.
Yeah.
I mean, his name is the only thing that's attached to this. He's not back there fucking fixing food. He's not the one that's reading over all this business stuff. Like he's the money behind all of it.
Yeah. I've never understood when like
It's stupid.
CEOs and stuff like, and people in that kind of position have to step down or whatever because someone in their company did something bad. That how are you supposed to control people that are their own people? They're adults. They do whatever they are going to do.
It's
You
like
can't control people.
but when Papa John said that outrageous shit that he said, the racist remarks and all that, and then it's like, yeah, you've got to step down, buddy. It's got to be you. Go.
Yeah, it's
The
very
rest of the
strange.
company is fine. You're the one that's wrong, you know?
Yeah.
So, but they took a hit. They took a
Yeah.
massive hit with that. They
The
lost their
NFL,
NFL
I was
deal,
just going to say, yeah, the NFL dumped him.
and Pizza Hut swooped in like the very next fucking week. They're like, "Yep, we'll cater to the football fans."
Yeah.
That was
Crazy.
funny.
Crazy.
Last week we were talking about the Red Sox going and visiting the White House and Donald Trump kind of taking credit for them sweeping or whatever the next game or so. And we talked about how that was kind of ridiculous that he was even taking credit for their little win because it had been so short. Fuck him. And we were also talking about um what their record had been since I went and saw them in Tampa, because we think that that's more significant than Donald Trump's proclamation after 3 days of them doing good.
Clearly. I mean, I don't see Trump on a podcast talking about the Red Sox.
Yeah, he would be a Yankees fan anyway. But
Exactly.
so I saw them on April 20th, which also happened to be Michael Chavis's major league debut. Their record before April 20th was 7-13. Their record since then has been 16-7.
That's a
So
complete turnaround.
I'm not gonna say that we turned the entire team around, but we turned the entire fucking team around. World Series back on.
Yep.
I mean, and last year we went to game number 1. And they lost that game, but after that they pretty much won every fucking other game. So I mean, I think we're the spark. Every time we go to a game, it's like the spark plug for them. So
I
you're
wish I could say
welcome.
the same about.
You're welcome, Red Sox Nation. Yeah, you haven't had the best luck going to games, have you?
No, the two that I saw, we lost, and they haven't been great since. They have a weird something going on. I don't know what it is.
Well, let's talk about the most recent game that you went to for a sec.
Sure.
You sat through a pretty long rain delay.
3 hours, I think.
3-hour rain delay. That's pretty outrageous.
Yeah, the start was supposed to be 1:15 and it ended up being 4:10.
Oh fuck. That's painful.
Yep.
And then tack on another 3 hours for the game. So you're not even getting home till 7 o'clock.
Yep.
And you're not leaving the ballpark till 7 o'clock. You're not getting home till 8 when you deal with all the traffic and shit. Ugh, that's painful. That's a long day at the ballpark. There's a New York councilman named Justin Brannan. I was looking at my notes to figure out his name, but he wrote to the MLB commissioner trying to lobby for a league-wide rule that would say all games have to start within an hour of the original start time. So if the game was supposed to start, in your case, at 1 o'clock, if it didn't start by 2, they postponed it. They said,
wow.
hey, this game's canceled so that fans don't have to sit around for the length of a doubleheader.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I can see the push for that. What's funny, and I'm sure I'm the exception here, but I'll just tell you my situation right there real quick. So I was working weekends at the time, and so I took vacation day for Saturday. So if that would have happened, I wouldn't have been able to see the game because I had to work Sunday. But like I said, that's no one else probably had that issue. So
I think part of that package or whatever would be that you would get a rain check for a future date. Because, I mean, let's face it, most MLB teams don't sell out every game.
right.
So they can pretty much guarantee you a ticket to a game when you're free.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would be all for that. Yeah, that would be really cool.
I mean, unless you're a team like the Red Sox or the Yankees or somebody like that that sells out every game, that's the only people that might have issue.
Yeah.
But solve that issue by just blocking out a certain section of however many seats. And then if they don't get filled up by rain checks by a certain time, then open them to be sold.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's not a bad idea.
I don't know. I'm just thinking off the cuff with that, but seems like that would work.
Yeah, I'd be super into that.
Man, I should run I should run Major League Baseball.
I'd vote for you.
I mean, I'm the commissioner of our fantasy football league. I think I could do it for professional baseball.
Those two go hand in hand.
Absolutely. I'm submitting my resume tomorrow.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. You guys heard it all the way in Austria or wherever you're listening.
The new face of baseball right in front of you.
Man, that's so wild. That video message that I showed you that we've got listeners now in, what was it, Slovakia?
Portugal,
Wherever
else. That's crazy. I'm kind of thinking it might be, well, I was going to say it might be some kind of bot, but what would they get out of that?
They would get some sweet ass content.
Yeah. Cause it's not like listening to a podcast is like valuable to anyone. You know what I mean? Like from a monetary standpoint, like if you're trying to scam the internet,
at least we're not paying anybody to listen to us.
Listening to a free podcast is not going to do anything for you. So, if people are listening to it over there and enjoy it, fucking by all means.
I hope we develop a huge following in Slovakia.
We're worldwide.
That's hilarious. Just two kids in the United States just bullshitting about sports, and I bet it's Game of Thrones fans.
It might be. Yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway.
Maybe they really like the Red Sox in Poland or wherever else. Canada.
Right.
Canada was one of them.
Well, speaking of Canada, we finally have some hockey news to talk about.
Oh, shit, son. Oh, shit, son.
The drought in Boston just might end.
It might end soon. It's been a long, since February. So it's been a long 3 months since we've had a championship in the city of Boston. I mean, I'm not in Boston anymore, so I can't really speak to that. But I guess they're okay. They're making it.
Holding on by a string, man.
It has been tough, especially with the Red Sox starting out so poorly.
But I'm sure everyone wrote the whole season off.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much the hero of Boston right now because since we went to visit the game and turn the entire season around.
Sure.
They've been toasting to me ever since, but now the Bruins have stolen my thunder. So
they have swept the Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final.
Amazing.
That's insane.
Amazing.
I don't think that happens very often in hockey.
Playoffs got easier as they went on for the Bruins.
Crazy.
The first round against the Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs, went to a game 7, like a hard fought game 7. And then the next round against Columbus was a game 6. So it got easier as we went along.
That's crazy. And now they're just waiting around for San Jose and the Blues to figure their shit out.
Yeah, which there was some news and some controversy in that now that the Blues are down 2-1.
Craziness. Yeah, so last night's game or the night before? I
think it was last night, yeah. I don't know. Whenever you listen to it, it'll be whatever. It was game 3.
Whatever day. The game went into overtime and San Jose scored a goal, but it was off of a hand pass basically there, and that wasn't called. So the player was in front of the net, basically swiped the puck with his hand to another player, and that player essentially made a goal. And in the NHL, a non-call is not reviewable. You have to review something that's called or a goal or something like that.
Yeah.
So there was nothing anyone could do.
It was just like the non-pass interference call in
Yep.
the NFC Championship game this year against the Saints. They couldn't review it at the time. I bet after this season, they'll go back and that will be reviewable next year.
Yeah. And I think that's the way that rules get changed, is because something happens and it's egregious, and then they have to make up for that. What the NFL has done in the interim is they've suspended all of those refs that were on that game for the rest of the season, which doesn't really mean much. I mean, I don't know what that does, but it's, I guess, something to shut everyone up. But I mean, now Blues fans and everyone are all upset, just like the Saints fans were. But the Blues still have a chance.
That's what I was gonna say. Like the only difference is that was a game 3 in a best of 7 series, whereas the Saints situation, it was a one and done kind of deal.
Yep.
But man, we're moving along way too quickly. I wasn't even beginning to get finished with Red Sox talk. I've got a lot of stuff I want to talk about because we've actually got some good shit to finally talk about. Dude,
they're winning.
They're winning. But one of the things that happened this week that was fucking amazing was a game that we also lost. But Chris Sale threw 17 strikeouts in 7 innings of work.
That's insane.
And then the bullpen blew it.
Yeah.
But
to be fair, it was a very close game.
It was a very close game. It was 3-2 when Chris left the game, and
couldn't hold on.
Who was it that came in? Hembry, maybe? Or Barnes, one of them. I can't remember. Somebody came in, and no, it was Workman. Workman came in, and before that, he had not given up a hit in some crazy stat, some crazy number. And I was like, damn, he's due. And then sure enough, he gave up a little bloop single and then a crazy fucking home run.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, fuck. Yeah. And the Red Sox just, I don't know why they can't score when Chris Sale's on the mound, but they score for everybody else, especially Erod. He's the luckiest motherfucker in the world when it comes to that. It's like, oh, Erod's on the mound, first inning, 8 runs.
Is Sale the ace?
Yeah. He's the ace of the staff.
Do you think they can't score when he's pitching because the other team is also has their best pitcher pitching?
That usually is what it is, especially in the first few weeks of the season. But now so many teams have had off days and their schedules have gotten misaligned, but it's still lining up normally with another good pitcher.
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
You're right. You're spot on with your assessment and your thoughts. So
still, it sucks though. Like when you have a great pitcher going and then you just can't get any backup.
Yeah, and when they go and spin a gym like that and you can't win the game for them, it's like, fuck. But that's one of the only, what did I say earlier? 7 losses since I saw them in person. So that's not bad. We'll take it. You know, in Chris's last like 4 or 5 games, he's racked up almost 60 strikeouts. He's double digits in every game except for one. And in that one game was like 8.
Going for the Cy Young this year?
No, I don't think so. He's already given up way too many runs, and his ERA is over 4 right now still. So he's working on that, trying to get that down. But I don't know. Keep throwing games like that, and it'll come down pretty quickly. We'll see come June, July, and then we'll really start talking about Cy Young, MVP talk, Rookie of the Year talk. Maybe we'll be talking about Michael Chavis a little bit around then because that kid, he's impressive.
Yeah, I can definitely see him getting Rookie of the Year.
He's already got 7 bombs. Everybody's been so excited about Vladdy Jr. And he's going to be good. Vladdy is, but Michael Chavis, remember that name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, he was one of the call-up specials in our Tap Sports baseball game.
Right.
So, he's doing something good if the game takes notice and gives him a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
So,
do you think it's kind of like in the NFL where a young good player is new to the league and people don't know how to react to him so they can find success. But then after teams have, video on what he likes to hit and what he misses and stuff like that, they'll be able to pitch better to him and they won't be as successful? Or do you think it's just pure talent?
A little of both. I think you're right. They will get a scouting report on him. The only downside to that is he's also getting a firsthand scouting report of the pitchers themselves and what they throw and how they throw it. And he takes notes, physical notes of every at bat that he has.
Yeah.
They show him in the dugout all the time where he's got his little book and he's like, all right, 3-2 count, slider, strikeout, like making notes of everything that happens in that bat. I think he'll be good for a long time. But you're right, a lot of guys they get figured out. And
Yeah.
that's how they end up out of the league in a couple years.
And I think talented young players that are fresh in the league have an advantage over the people that they face because they, like you said, have a scouting report on every pitcher that they face. So they have homework that they can study and catch up on what this pitcher, what his tendencies are. But the pitcher has nothing to go off of. I mean, I guess you could look at his AAA stats and whatever, but
I mean, what do you really learn from looking at just numbers unless you get spray charts and stuff like that? But even then, it's hard to. I would say it's harder to scout a young batter than it is a young pitcher.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I don't know. That's cool. That's good on his behalf, and he's taken full advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
He had a walk-off hit the other night, so he got to be the hero and
Nice.
have the after the game interview and all that good stuff. So he's having fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Another one of our guys is Rafael Devers. He's having fun this year too. It's the best baseball he's ever played. Defensively, he's looked better than he did last year. He's
third base.
Third base, yeah. He still makes a few errors, but god damn is he swinging a hot bat. He's leading the league in, I think, average. I know he's leading the Red Sox, but I think they said that he's leading the league in batting average too. I know in the NL it's Bellinger because he might get a triple crown this year.
Quite hot. If
he can keep up with Yelich and home runs.
Oof. Can you explain the triple crown?
Yeah, it's you lead the league in average, RBIs, and home runs.
Okay.
So you finish on top in all three of those categories. And for pitching, it's wins, ERA, and strikeouts.
Gotcha. Yeah, for whatever reason, he's not making the sports news as much as you'd think he is. A lot of people are talking about Yelich and they think he's going to get 60 home runs and shit. People are saying that Bellinger's good, but like, I don't hear this, I don't hear a lot of noise, and goddamn, he is just lighting it up. But I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe you can't focus on every single good player. I don't know.
You remember last week when I was talking about Mike Trout and Manny Machado and how they get lost on the West Coast? Bellinger plays for the Dodgers. He's lost on the West Coast. Same thing with Arenado. Arenado's in that NL West. They get lost out there.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's easier to keep up with the East and the Central.
Yeah.
Because their games come on at a time when we are awake. The West Coast games don't start until 10 o'clock for me. I'm not typically staying up and watching baseball at 10 o'clock unless the Red Sox are, going into extra innings or it's been a little lengthier game, but it's like the ninth,
Right.
I'm not about to freshly watch a game.
Yeah. The reason I brought that up is right before we went on, I was watching Pardon the Interruption on ESPN, and they had mentioned Yelich and whether or not he was going to get 60 homers, which he's on pace for, but that's going to be very hard to do.
No, he's not going to.
Yeah.
He'll slow down considerably.
But what I thought
42.
There you go. What I thought when I listened to that was I get that he's the, reigning MVP. He's shit hot. but so is Bellinger. And where is the talk about that? I'm sure like a dedicated MLB show probably talks about him a lot more, but it's just weird what the big shows decide to talk about. You know what I mean? I haven't heard shit about Tiger either.
Yeah, well, because he's not winning. When he was winning the Masters, that's all anybody would talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger, Tiger, Tiger. So, they're not going to blast his name if he's not making the cut at Bethpage.
Yeah.
So, they're selective for sure. It might be because he's the reigning MVP, but I mean, Bellinger should be getting some spotlight. LA's a pretty major sports market.
Yeah, you would think. Unless I'm just dead wrong, but the shit that I watch, I haven't seen anything about it.
I haven't watched anything on ESPN in so long. I read most of my sports news these days.
Yeah. Yeah, when I come home, I'll usually throw something on and just it's something to watch while I'm like just chilling, you know?
Right. Like I watch Red Sox baseball, which Rick Purcell just threw a wild pitch. He better get out of this inning.
Ouch.
Runners around second and third, 2 outs though, 2 strikes.
Oh, thanks for the update.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sure whenever we listen back to it on Monday, it'll really, capture the moment that is this baseball game.
Yeah.
I'm glad I mean, that's for our live listeners on YouTube.
Right.
Because you can do that with our show now. You can watch us live, just sit here and pretend like we know what we're talking about.
Are you finished with your Red Sox?
Yeah, we can move on to Cardinals stuff if you want. If you've got anything to talk about with them.
God, not anything good. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it's not been too great.
What's weird to me is 3 days ago we hit 14 runs against the Braves, and obviously obliterated them. And then we lost by 1 or 2, and then we lost by 7 or whatever it was. I don't have an answer. Wainwright sucked last night. I think he went like five innings or whatever and gave up several runs. But I don't necessarily expect a lot from him. The starting pitching has not been great. They haven't been god awful, but I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely not the same team that was first in the NL weeks ago.
Let's see. It's Waino, Flaherty.
Yep, Michaelis
is Waka.
Yep, Waka and Dakota Hudson.
Okay, Hudson's the only one I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, he's in the 5 hole.
Okay. He's the only one I haven't seen pitch. I've been trying to watch more Cardinals baseball, but a lot of times they're playing at the same exact time as the Red Sox. So it's like, well, shit.
Sure.
But on our off nights and stuff, I've been watching a lot of Cardinals. I really have enjoyed getting to watch more of Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
He's a joy to watch, man.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's something that the players or the coaches or whatever have to fix. It's not anything that a fan can necessarily analyze because the talent is there. Other than pitching, I think pitching is really where the struggle is, but that's the majority of baseball teams, you know?
Right. Well, let's play GM for a second. What would you move around on the team? And who would you try to trade for and try to acquire? Say, this is MLB, the show, and you turned off the smart trades and you're trading for whoever you want to trade for.
Yeah.
Build your dream team.
I would for sure either just get rid of him or try to trade Andrew Miller. He hasn't really worked out very well. He's had a few good innings where he's kind of helped us along, but I don't know. I think after his injuries, he hasn't been the same that he was in Cleveland, and he kind of sucked for them too towards the end of his stint with them. I don't know what you could get for him necessarily because he's not great, but I would just I don't need to be paying him anymore. I would throw something out at Keuchel because I think he'd probably be more versatile than Kimbrel. Kimbrel would be a closer, and we already have a pretty damn good closer.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he ain't getting the deals that he thought he would by this point. So he might be more inclined to take something a little bit more reasonable. I don't know if the Cardinals are in a position to to pay people because they signed Goldschmidt and Carpenter to not a whole bunch of money, but a good chunk. I think Goldschmidt got somewhere around 125, maybe more, and Carpenter got maybe a little less than that. So I don't know how much, they're willing to throw down on something like that, but I would try to go after like a Keuchel or someone out there that is still available.
Which is insane that there are so many teams that are kind of struggling in that same department of the starting pitching, and Keuchel's still sitting out there waiting.
He must be just waiting for a big ass contract, and he's not accepting anything other than what he wants.
I
That's all I
can't
can think.
I can't imagine that these teams haven't at least offered a 1-year deal.
I guess people don't want to pay that much for just a pitcher.
I mean, but goddamn, like he could turn a team around, really.
Especially a team that has shitty pitching,
Yeah, like he might not come in and win 20 games for you, but he's going to come in and win 12, 13 games over the next, however many you have. I think we're a quarter into the baseball season. Like we've officially hit the quarter mark already. It's flying by, dude.
Yeah. And I would definitely say that he's a much better buy than Kimbrel. Kimbrel, like I said, he's just basically a closer, and
that's all he is.
And he's also kind of like shady, or not shady, but like squirrely.
Yeah.
Like he has off nights.
He can. He gets wild. Sometimes you take a walk on the wild side with Kimbrel, but Keuchel's the same way. He's not the same Kimbrel that won the Cy Young.
Right.
He's a little older and he's homer prone, but he's still a good value if you can get him for maybe 1-2 years even. Like I can't imagine not wanting him on your team for the next year or two.
Yeah.
So I don't know, especially the Cards. But yeah, you were talking about Andrew Miller. Mm-hmm. I hated him when he pitched in Boston because he played for the Red Sox. I don't know if you know this or not, but he played for the Red Sox for like 2-3 years.
Oh no.
Back in like 2011 and 12 when the Red Sox were god awful. He posted during those seasons. Oh, he was there in 13 too when we won the World Series. But in those seasons, like he was putting up like a 5 ERA. And then he got I guess free agent or whatever, and then went to fucking New York and then started throwing, or he went to Baltimore first and then New York, and he was like a 1.35, 1.2 ERA guy. And then now I see that when he's back with you, he's back at 5.
Mm-hmm. He was with the Indians for a while too. That's who we got him from.
Yeah, he did all right with the Indians, and that's how he made all of his money, was going from the Yankees to the Indians. That was his big payday.
So he's been around.
Yeah, he sucked it up with us for a while. Yeah. He started to get better towards the end, I guess, but he was never one of my guys. Never one of the guys that I was excited to see come in. Isn't it funny how you, after you watch so many games, it's like you have guys that's like, I trust him more than I trust other guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I want a rookie, Michael Chavis, up when bases are loaded, but I don't want Jackie Bradley Jr. up when there's anybody on, because he can't hit the fucking broadside of a barn.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
he can damn sure rob a homer though.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he really does. He's got an outstanding defensive glove in center field. He's known for making ridiculous plays. And that's the only reason he's in the major leagues, really. He's a streaky hitter at best. He'll get hot. Like a couple years ago, he had a 29 game hit streak or something.
Good God.
Something like that. Yeah, something ridiculous. But then he would go cold and like go 0 for fucking 50.
Yeah.
Or whatever, So it is what it is.
I've mentioned, go ahead.
You keep him for his glove.
Yep. I've mentioned our second baseman, Colton Wong, a couple of times, and I think he's a potential Gold Glover. And he's the same way. He'll get on a streak and then he'll just fall off. And I think he's kind of in a rut. I don't know his numbers exactly, but I mean, I haven't seen him produce, so I just have to assume that he's not doing well.
Right.
I don't know what it is. Baseball is a weird sport where for whatever reason, people can just get cold or something happens.
Yeah, it is one of those sports that it's like it's real easy to get hot, or it's real difficult to stay hot.
Yep.
You can get hot in flashes and stuff like that, but it's hard for like an MVP type season where you're hot wire to wire. That's tough. That's rare.
Yeah, especially for how long the season is. I mean, 163 games, you're traveling all over the fucking place. You're playing in the heat of the summer. Yeah, for sure.
Wong's on a little 3 game hit streak.
Okay. I mean, I'll take it.
Yep. Doesn't look like that he's got. It doesn't look like you guys have started tonight.
No, we start at 7 something. We're playing the Rangers at
Okay.
their
So,
at
yeah.
their spot.
Yeah, you'll start here in about 15 or 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit. I know you're not a baseball fan, but have you heard of this
Nope. Not a
Tyreek?
baseball fan at all.
I mean basketball. Sorry. Have you heard of this Tyreek Evans situation?
No.
I don't know him. He's an Indiana Pacer, and he has been disqualified from the NBA for 2 years due to violating the league's anti-drug program.
Oh.
Um, strange. You usually hear of suspension or 10 game, 20 game, whatever suspension for.
What drug?
They haven't said.
It's got to be more than just smoking weed.
Yes, and I will clarify at least a little bit. So, now this is from a tweet from one of those sports people, but
One of those very reliable sources. Got it.
yes, and everything on the internet is true. So let's just get that out of the way. Tyreek Evans tested positive for drugs of abuse, according to ESPN. This quote right here is from when a player named Chris Anderson was dismissed from the league for this, and this is
Birdman?
what, yeah, the tatted up dude.
Yeah.
And this is what the league said defines drugs of abuse. Drugs that are on this list are amphetamine and its analogs, which includes methamphetamine, cocaine, LSD, opiates, heroin, codeine, morphine, and PCP. So Tyreek Evans
Likes to party.
popped for one of those drugs.
Tyreek Evans likes to party.
That's what it sounds like. I would have to say it's probably cocaine. I don't see a basketball player shooting meth or heroin.
Well, you can smoke meth, sir.
Yes. But like you said, if he's a partier, which it sounds like, that's probably cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like he's a party boy. He's probably a fuck boy too. He's probably got hoes in every area code that he goes to.
That's an interesting thing that the league did there, because I don't remember the last time that's ever happened. I don't remember that happening to Chris Anderson. It must have not been a big news story.
I remember when Chris Anderson got caught up on a catfish scandal and was in jail and stuff like that for what was it that they caught him or locked him up on? I think it was like statutory rape charges or something like that, but it was because he was being catfished by somebody. Like a third party was catfishing him and a girl at the same time, and like got them to meet in person. And they had never, like, these two people had never talked to each other. They were talking to the third party the whole time. Both of them were. It was fucked. Like,
That's crazy.
Go and look that shit up. That's a wild story.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I remember when that shit happened, because it was like all over the news, all over ESPN back then, that he was going to jail for some serious shit, and it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
this is when he played for Denver.
Mm-hmm. Wildness.
Yeah.
And of course the NBA playoffs are rolling along. It looks like the favorites, I guess, are Golden State and Milwaukee to go to the finals.
Yeah, my heart died a little bit when the Celtics got beat out, but Kyrie's a fucking buster. He needs to get the fuck out of town. Yeah. Because I was really hoping for the clean sweep of championships.
The Triple Crown.
The quadruple crown.
They're even better.
I was just hoping because my buddy Terrence at work, like he hates the fact that I win championships in my sports. Me personally go and win them. I win them
Yes,
all.
you help.
But the teams that I cheer for, because he's like, oh, you're sitting back there, and your Red Sox win, your Patriots win.
They haven't always, just as of
And that's
late.
what I remind him. And he's like, yeah, but they are now, and that's enough. It's like, dude, you're a Florida Gators fan. Like you had your time whenever they won multiple championships in a row
You
and
remember
stuff.
when they won the basketball championship and the football championship?
Yep, they were
Who the fuck
dominant.
has done that
Yeah,
since?
nobody.
Yeah.
So yeah, so get off my nuts, Terrence. Damn.
That's
Nah,
funny.
he's cool. He's one of my really good buds at work. Like we talk sports all day long.
Nice.
Yeah, he keeps me updated on football like trades, anything that's going on football wise. He knows it.
Sure.
So he's the man.
Nice.
Um, any MMA news that you want to cover?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about the announcement of Cowboy and Tony Ferguson fighting
Hell
on
yeah.
like June something, mega close.
Yeah, it's UFC 238. I didn't write down the date. So
Yeah, but it's right around the corner.
June 9th or 8th or something like that. I think it's in the beginning of the month.
Yeah, and Cowboy just fucking fought.
Yeah, dude, like which credit to him, he's a fucking warrior. You know, he's fought like a million fights. You looked up his record last time. Like he's fought a bajillion times in the UFC.
And that's just professional fights.
Yeah, who knows how many AMI fights he had before he turned pro.
Yeah. I'm excited for this, but I don't know if he should have taken this at such late notice. You know, I think if you're going to face Tony Ferguson, you might want a full camp and you might want to be 100% because
Well,
he fucking sure as shit is.
I guess that'll prove to be his undoing because he's a man's man, and whenever he says that he'll fight anybody at any time, he owns up to it. Very few guys do that in the UFC, and I think that's why Cowboy has so many fans and he's so respected among all the other fighters.
Yeah, yeah. People like a guy like that, especially in like a fighting sport. They love a guy like Nate Diaz and Cowboy who just don't give a fuck and just throw hands. You know.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Nate, I saw that he might be coming back for a fight too against who was it? Pettis?
Yep, it's scheduled
It's
for
scheduled.
for
It's
170.
official? I thought that it was just a teaser, but
I
is
think
it
it's
officially
scheduled.
Cool.
I think so. At
Badass,
170
dude.
too, which is kind of interesting.
I'm glad that he's coming back and Tony's coming back, and neither one of them are fighting Connor.
Right.
Connor's still just like, hey, who wants to fight me?
Connor's still just tweeting.
Yeah, tweeting at Habib, who's not paying him really too much attention.
Weird.
Yeah, Connor's turned so strange. His whole story is weird. Everybody in Game of Thrones is mad about story arcs. Connor's story arc has been bizarre.
On top of the world, fucking billionaire, red panty night, every fucking UFC he was ever in. To just, I think ever since when he lost to Nate, that was the decline. And then he beat him in a decision or whatever, which
a lot of people were pretty upset about.
yes. And after that, I think it's just kind of gone downhill. He fucking threw a dolly at a bus and just has been on a shit show ever since. Like, I thought for sure after he fought Mayweather that he would start a boxing career. I was 100% convinced that he was going to fight someone that he could actually beat and maybe win and then just go box from now on, because that's where you could really make money, because you don't have to deal with the UFC wanting you to do this, that, and the other. He could do his own promotion, of course, and really take off, but he didn't.
Yeah, that would have been the smart move for McGregor, but I think he's got it in his mind that he wants that ownership stake in UFC, and that's what's really eating him alive. Is he knows all that money sitting on the table in the UFC and he's not got his hands on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
I hope that Tony is a little bit more active. I think they could really make a big star out of him because he's just so fucking talented and crazy. But he doesn't fight enough. People can't see him enough to really start to like him. Um, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think he just wants the title fight, which he deserves, but I don't know if they're gonna give that to him, and unless he is active.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but historically, the part of the reason that he's not been that active is because he gets hurt a lot.
He does.
It seems like he's always got another injury that he's nursing, and I hope that that isn't what defines his career, is constant injuries and never making it to the top or never really being one of the greats because he didn't have a chance to shine at the top because he won the belt once and then immediately lost it or had it stripped, so it sucks, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks to see mega talented dudes who just can't get it together for whatever reason.
I mean, he is the definitive proof that Eddie Bravo's system works in MMA.
Yeah, for sure.
If you dedicate your life to the system, you will be a very, very talented fighter, a very, very good fighter.
Hmm. Yeah, and he's like the best of both worlds. He's a very good striker as well, and
Mhm.
on the ground, just tap now and save yourself the pain.
Absolutely. Um, do you have any final thoughts? We've been rambling on now for about an hour. That's about good for an episode, I
Yeah,
think.
we're about good for that.
Yeah,
Anything after that, and we just
we get pretty dumb pretty quick. Justin and I jumped on the dumb bandwagon right away, though. Whatever he and I were on, it was like instantly sperm bank.
hey, whatever. It's good when you can flow.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
that's
we've
true.
learned that over time.
The only other notes that I had that I wanted to mention was the possibility of NCAA football coming back. That would be exciting for us. I know
Oh
we've
man,
mentioned it several times on the podcast, and I think that's kind of what got the ball rolling. We've
I,
been
I
mentioning it so much that now, the Slovakians are getting on board and it's going to be fucking epic. So,
I haven't seen anyone else talking about it, so I can only imagine that someone caught wind of us. Hey, that Nest podcast is mentioning it. Maybe we
that's
should look
got to be
into.
it.
Yeah, yeah. The NCAA football and basketball. I don't know what kind of relationship they have. Probably just with the NCAA, but I guess a committee or something has been formed to see if they can pay the players for likeness and name use.
Yeah, that's where it's at right now, and it seems like it's all going favorably, um, so that they would be able to compensate college athletes, college stars mainly.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be one of those things to where it's like every college athlete gets a piece of the pie. Like if you go to Jacksonville University and play on their college basketball team, I don't think you're gonna get a big piece of the NCAA 2020 money.
Which I don't even know if you'd be in that game to begin with.
You might not be, but I mean, even if you're University of Florida, you're not a national powerhouse in basketball anymore. You're probably not going to make as much as like the Duke guys or the
Yeah.
Carolina guys or whatever,
Well, what do you think about
which
just
will be
making it?
interesting.
What do you think about just making it an even slate, payment wise? Like pay everyone the same. We're going to use your name and everyone else's name, and this is how much you get.
Like a one time boom, here's $100.
Yeah, whatever they decide it's going to be.
Yeah,
Like
I'm sure it'll be more than 100, but
when the game releases, every player featured in the game gets this much.
yeah, I mean, I'm cool with that, I guess.
And then for the cover, whoever wins the Heisman gets the cover.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I'd be perfectly fine with that. And then I think that's completely fair. Of course, the stars are going to be like, well, people know me more than whatever, but you're an amateur and you're college and they haven't paid you shit until now. So
Yeah, you'll get paid more next year, Bubba.
mm-hmm.
Wait your turn.
I think
Yeah, I'm on board with that, I guess.
I would also be cool with companies wanting to sponsor a college athlete. I think we all know that Nike is just waiting for Zion to go pro so they can just give him as much money as he'll take. And I don't
Yeah.
see anything wrong with doing that now or doing that last year, because I don't think that necessarily has anything to do with the college or the NCAA. They're their own company, you know.
Mhm.
Why do they decide who he gets paid by and why he can't get paid by certain people?
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's got something to do with the O'Bannon laws from back in the day, but that's all I really know.
Yeah.
Justin's the better one to talk to about that because he kind of understands and pays attention to college sports a lot more than we do.
I think we're almost
But
right around the corner from an update to those kind of rules, just because the way that college sports are handled now. I think people realize that they're really just unpaid athletes. I mean, you can say that they're getting a free college education and whatever, but I think a lot of them kind of bullshit their way through college in
well,
hopes that they're going to get drafted.
and I think the major smack in the face to a lot of these kids is when they made that rule that kids had to go to college for at least 1 year before they could go pro and not be able to uh, go straight out of high school anymore because they were trying to discourage that and try to make kids go to college, but then they just made like forced people through college, and it boosted college ratings for college basketball
Right.
because now you've got all these mega stars that are like, oh, this guy's going to be the shit in the NBA, but we're watching him at Duke. We're
Yep.
watching him at Kentucky. We're watching him at UNC or whatever, you know. So it's kind of been a big money boost for NCAA because think of Pepsi, Budweiser, Bud Light, fucking Miller, Coors, all these beer sponsors and sponsors that are all over their commercials and stuff. They're paying tons and tons of money to advertise for these college kids that aren't getting paid.
It's so strange.
Let them get their beak wet.
And the college doesn't have to pay them. I've given you options for outside sources to pay college students. You know, you can keep your fucking money that you want so damn bad,
It's ridiculous.
and just give the fans a damn game that they want. You know, I want to give you money, but you won't make this game, so I can't. It's just I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like you're not doing anyone any good by holding on to that. It's just hurting everyone. Good catch.
I think with this Madden 20 little thing that they're going to have where you can play like your senior year or whatever in select colleges, I think they're going to see a gigantic
I do too.
interest in that.
I think that's really what's going to seal the deal on that's why I've been saying NCAA 2020. Uh, or it might be 2021. I was thinking 19 was coming out, but 19's been out for a year now already. Fucking
Yep.
A. Sports games are always the year ahead, aren't they?
Yep.
Oh well. But maybe it's 2021 that it'll be when it comes out. But I think this Madden 20 is going to really spark that, like you said. So we'll see.
We can only hope, I guess.
Fucking A right.
Listen to this shit and heed our advice. People want it.
Hey, you've got 2 purchases right here. And then I'm sure our listeners in Portugal are just salivating for NCAA football 2020. So let's get on it. All right, man. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're checking us out on Monday nights whenever we review and recap Game of Thrones. We're going to have the panel back this week to talk about the series finale. Holy shit, we're there, Zach.
Yep. I fucking flew by.
It really did. You know, baseball season's going fast. Game of Thrones just flew right on past. That was a quick month and a half,
Yeah, no shit.
but it'll be Christmas again before we know it. We're creeping up on our 1-year podcast, birthday, anniversary, whatever it would be called.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That'll be in, I think, August is when that was.
I believe so.
We'll have to plan something cool for that episode.
Yeah, hell yeah.
something fun. Anyway, um, guys, thanks for listening again, and we hope you'll come back and listen again next week. See ya.